Hey there, another good month from Microsoft on Power BI desktop update for August. So let's have a look. Perspective support for personalized views, preview stage. So basically what we have here is the personalized view. So this was something that came out in prior months. They're basically showing in the Europe focus page here that there's access to all the fields. But when we go to global focus, perspectives in place, and now we can see that because it's telling us that it's a subset. And if you have a look at the VDM sales ratings as they go into it, and you look at what was in the Europe focus, which was a full fields list, you can see that it actually is a subset. And so how do we implement this? Well, you have to set up the personalized views in preview, which will cause you to sort of restart Power BI desktop. And then in the report settings, you also have to enable that on the report for the report readers or consumers. Now, to set up these perspectives, you're best off going into the tabular editor, click on the perspectives folder, as we can see, create a new perspective through the right-click mechanism, really quite simple. And then when you go into the tables and you select particular columns, you can basically assign those columns to the relevant perspective that you've created. So pretty simple. When we go back to Power BI, as you can see, there is a page, personalized visual pane, and so you need to then assign that particular visual through to that perspective, so that when the report readers are using that report and then creating their own personalized view, it knows which perspective it needs to apply. You can apply it to all pages as they show, but you have to remember to apply those going forward as well. The rectangular lasso is basically a way of selecting multiple data points with a click and drag mechanism. So the control click and drag actually selects and deselects points as it shows. However, there's also a shift click drag, which is just additive, so it won't deselect, it will just keep adding points through to that selection that you've made. The point of this is that when you, excuse the pun, when you make those selections, it will cross-highlight or cross-filter other visuals in the Power BI reporting. Moving on, to set this up, basically a preview feature, data point lasso select has to be enabled, and away you go. Dynamic formatting, so they're really just showing, the end game here really is, for example, basically you can use this for something like currency conversion, what they've explained. So in this case, you want the formatting of the values to show in the relevant currency that exists in the visual. For example, in this case, it's got Brazilian real, euro, the Saudi via, and American pound. So they all have their own formatting. How do you implement this? Let's have a look. So basically, we've seen in the past where there are measure groups or calculation groups that can be created, and for a calculation item within there, there's a format string. And what they're kind of showing here is really that it generally adopts the parent format string, but on this particular one, you can specify the case what that format string is. However, for the dynamic formatting, when it comes into play with currency conversion, you kind of are using data that already exists in the table elsewhere. And so in this case, what we're seeing is basically they've created like a table that sort of lists all the currencies and the format string that would apply when you bring those currencies into the visual. So, moving forward, the way that this applies in a dynamic construct is really on the measure. Obviously we're in tabular editor here, but on the measure, the format string is basically it's a formula, so it's an expression. And so in this case, for the dynamic formatting, the format string is basically an expression that's using the data from that currency table, and that currency table holds the format string for each of the currencies. Talk through, and here we are again, the end result. Direct query support for Q&A. So basically what we're looking at here is Q&A is obviously now support for direct query, but there is an apply button, so this will avoid burdening the system, the source system with constant queries. Some visualizations, very exciting, quite a few there as we can see by XViz and updates, the rating visual TME AG. So it looks very interesting. It's worthwhile having a look at them. I'll put some links in the description below. But yeah, some really good stuff. ArcGIS GIS has had just a bit of a overhaul on the interface, and so much easier. So admin capabilities for AppSource visuals, good stuff for admins obviously, and not only do you have your private file that you load up, but you can select a visual directly from AppSource, and which is fantastic. And so when that visual gets updated, so does it in AppSource, then so does it get updated in your Power BI reporting. For both the private files and the AppSource, you can enable it so that it appears directly within the visuals pane as if it was like out of the box. So that's pretty good. Template apps, basically, so we're kind of looking at the Agile CRM analytics template app. Obviously, template apps are just sort of plug and play reporting for specific systems that data that you might have. Text CSV by example preview obviously, and yeah, it's just as simple when you're loading data, get that extract table using examples, complete those examples, Power BI will do the rest, fill out that column based on that pattern, and yeah, it's a good way to sort of speed up your productivity, thumbs up for that. And clearly it creates all these applied steps for you, so it's not sort of hidden away, you don't know how it got to the end game basically. Yeah, it was a good one. Not a big one, but a few good things in there. I think my favourite's probably the dynamic formatting and maybe the text CSV by example. I think probably very productive and useful things. Hope you enjoyed this month's update. Quick one, and I'll catch you next month. Take care. Hit the like button. Put some comments in below. I really appreciate your feedback and kind of see how we can improve this for you. Have a great day. See ya.